Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Do You Read BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delaze. Welcome back, guys. So this week we reviewed the story that was requested a lot, like a lot. And we finally got to it, and we're kind of mad that we didn't get to it sooner. But
Right, because what?
this
It's
story was so good.
Yes.
All right, so the story is called The S Word. It's by Lovely and Bubbly on Wattpad, and it is a Kim Tae-young story. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so in the beginning of the book, it's about this girl. Her name is Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicole,
She was having a hard time finding a job. She hadn't been working.
oh, that's right. Okay, sorry. I had a blank. Sorry. So she had a hard time finding a job. She barely has food in her house, and she just knows she got to do something. So she picks up this job online. Pretty much, it's called like she's a cam girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so what she does is, at first, I think she was kind of like not really doing like very sexy stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but she kind of gets into it. So at first she was doing stuff like ASMR and just kind of talking to people. And she didn't even invite a lot of people into her room at first.
Right.
So she only let like 10 people come in where she was talking back and forth to.
Mm-hmm.
And those are her like faithful 10. So as the story goes along, she likes to start doing this, started getting a little bit of income from it. And she notices that all her viewers keep saying tagging V.
Oh, wait, one thing real quick before we get there. So there's this user that has been there since she started her journey with being a cam girl, and the name is 50 Shades of Purple, and they're always
Right.
there, and like they interact, and she interacts with them the most. Okay, go ahead.
Like 50 Shades of Purple is like her favorite one though.
Yeah.
So, and even when you put on Do Not Disturb, it doesn't stop ringing like Messenger and stuff like that. So
That seems weird.
I know it's crazy. Like it'll put Do Not Disturb for your phone, but not with like Messenger and stuff, which is
That's
weird.
really weird because it's still coming through your phone. Like,
Right.
oh, Apple.
Anyway, I know. Do better, Apple.
Do better.
So make me go to Samsung.
Man, I was with Samsung before.
Right. So make me go back. You know BTS got that new phone.
Okay. Girl.
And then look, have you seen the promo with the phone? They all looking so good.
Oh my gosh, those pictures?
Yes.
Girl. I was like,
Girl,
wait a minute. Who
Yes.
Okay, grown men.
Right. Did you see Jen? I was like, okay, Jen.
Jen, I don't, Jen takes me out every time. He
Right.
is aging in reverse. It's throwing me off.
Right. And the funny thing about it is I was looking at Twitter and this somebody put this the same man that just had that Samsung commercial and it just showed like him out in the suit.
In a suit?
Yeah, because he just picked up a mat, hit the like punching bag that JK punching and walked in the house. And he just so like Jen, like linky and skinny and Jen like and funny and just it was just funny because he had this sexy like picture and here he go, being goofy like.
That's just how he is.
Right. It was so funny.
We love some Jen.
I know. Anyway, okay, sorry, back to the story.
All right.
So her favorite person is 50 Shades of Purple. She has like a really good relationship with him. Like she feels some type of way when he ain't on the chat room. And of course, we also know Jimin ain't got no jams is in there too. But what is it? What is the name of it? It's not Jim. Don't have jams. What is it?
It's
Jam.
big jam. What's it? Big jams. My jams are the shit. My jams are the shit.
Yeah, something like that. Either way, we always see him on there. But come to find out that Jen is like her BFF.
Jimin.
Like, I mean, I'm sorry, Jimin is her BFF. They went to college together. Both of them have degrees in the same thing, and both of them do the same thing.
Both doctors, which dope.
Right.
In psychology.
So, right. So she does this, and like I said, has a really good relationship with the 50 Shades of Purple. And so she sees that all her people that's on her chat is saying, "Oh my God, gotta tag V," and all this stuff. She figures out that V is a big deal
Mm-hmm.
in this chat room. Like, he has millions of followers. Like, he's been doing this probably a little bit longer than her. And so she's like, oh my gosh, she gets super nervous when people like talking about it. And like, she turns off her chat almost every time they like start talking about like tagging him and getting him on there.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead, take over.
So after that she sees that they're tagging him and they're being nonstop, he eventually comes into her chat and everybody starts
Right.
freaking out, including the girl. The
Mhm.
girl is not typically like flustered or anything by people, but she's like, oh crap, like she low key kind of freezes up.
Mhm.
So the questions are still being asked and all of that, but she's like trying to figure out what to do.
Mhm.
And I think they asked her to do something that was like sexy but not like overly.
Mhm.
And
She started going over like kinks and stuff,
yeah,
but
she
not
started.
like overly sexy kinks.
Yeah.
Like, isn't it? Wasn't it the one with her hair or something?
Her hair.
Wasn't one of the kinks like I can't remember what the kink was, girl. But then she started getting a private message with 50 Shades, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she had never done private messages before, but she felt comfortable enough to do it with him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she didn't even know who it was, but she assumed it was a guy because she was kind of reading them through their screen. She was really good at being on to what people like are about
Mm-hmm.
quickly because her job. So he ends up popping through the private chat and he asked her to. He
He
asked her to
wanted
do
to see her
something.
body in the light.
Well, because she the way that it sounded was that like she was in the light, but her back was to him, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like her shadow, like her silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I just know that he enjoyed looking at her, like her body. Like, didn't he see her body? But like you said, just the silhouette. She was naked
yeah,
at this
yeah,
point.
she didn't have. I think she might have had her like bottom half on, but her top was like off.
Right.
Okay, so that happens, and
Mm-hmm.
then she like posts some pictures on her Instagram, and
Oh, she sends him a picture.
oh, that's right, she sends him a picture and she says, I figure you like photography, which was funny because he never mentioned that,
Right.
but I guess because of how he wanted her when he did
Mm-hmm.
the private live thing, she could kind of gauge how he was as a person with photography.
Right. So she in this story, she has not been with anybody. Her ex is JK,
Mm-hmm.
my sexy daddy. Okay. So she's been with JK in her past, but they did not work out. But she had a good relationship still with JK. So JK came over to her house, and isn't how this went?
Girl, sorry, real quick. I remember what kink you were talking about. He wanted
What?
to see her with wet hair. You were right. It was a hair
Oh,
one.
yeah.
I forgot. Okay. And you said, did he do what now? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just talking about JK. Her and JK had a really good relationship, and I think like he messaged her, he needed to see her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they went out to eat, right?
Yeah.
So they went out to eat, just talking, and she was just looking at him because I know he was looking fine, y'all.
Girl.
So he was looking fine as always, and she just kept looking at his lips because she kept thinking about how good in bed he was. If that's all, I mean, like that's all she was thinking about was like, I know he good in bed. So I think they basically just came to an agreement that they were going to just have sex together.
Right.
Like
And,
it was platonic, no like relationship
mm-hmm.
involved. Like she just wanted to have sex with him.
Right. And but in the meantime, that's working out for a bit. But when she did her live before and V had popped up, they exchanged numbers
Hmm.
because he was typing questions in the thing, but then they exchanged numbers. So they were texting, and they ended up meeting up for like coffee or something like that, just
Hmm.
to like meet one another. And then they kind of like hung out all day. Everything was cool, and they decided that they were going to do lives together, a live together.
Yeah, but she had already been back. I mean, kind of back and forth with JK and had sex with him and everything
Right,
before.
right. Yeah, because what I was going with was the fact that like JK and her had started messing around, and in the meantime, like while that's happening, she's also had
Yeah,
this situation that happened.
right. So as soon as she like started like talking to Taeyong about stuff like that, like she started just noticing that he looking good and we have a connection and all this stuff. Basically, she didn't forgot about JK over here.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets with V or Taeyong and they do this live together.
So one of the things with Tay is that he has rules that are in place. That was one of the reasons why that he wanted to meet up with her. Well, one of the reasons why he wanted to meet with up with her as well. So his rules, I can't remember what all they were, but I know it was like no sexual stuff,
No
like
sex stuff.
no kissing, no like anything like that, no sex, nothing. So
Hmm.
he had those rules for his how he went about things. So when they were discussing it, they were trying to figure out what they could do, on the live together, and they came
Hmm.
up with the idea. It was a feather, right?
I thought the feather was the second time
Oh, it was the second time. You're right.
because didn't they had a live together and it was like not sexual. It was like they were just doing ASMR stuff and then they ended it and they was like, oh, we need to do this again. Like they had a lot of viewers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this was on his channel.
Right.
So the next time Tay was like, let's do it again. This time let's do it on your channel. And then your channel is a little bit more risque than mine is. So let's do this feather.
Mm-hmm.
So the second time around they did the feather thing. So they was being way more sensual with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up kissing.
Which was not against his rule.
His rules, but he was like, oh, we can break one rule.
Right. He said it, which was funny because I'm just like,
Right.
mm,
Because he the one made the rules.
right,
And she couldn't help it because I know he was looking, mm.
right,
Y'all just don't know. Y'all don't understand what Taeyong been doing to me lately, okay? So I know that is how she was looking at him too. Because when
right.
I was reading the book, I was like, yes, Taeyong, yes.
I don't know what it is with Tay stories, but I always hear his voice. Always,
Oh,
always.
girl, that deep. And look, okay, sorry, not to be off of subject, but I told you my homegirl is like getting into BTS too.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, I don't know who it is, but somebody got a deep, sexy voice. Like she don't know who it is. I said, oh girl, that's V. That's Taeyong. Let me just show you him right quick. So we spent like another like hour like watching stuff about Taeyong.
That is so funny. That's great. I'm glad. I'm
I know,
glad.
I'm so happy, girl. You don't know, it's amazing to find somebody that love BTS like you.
I
Okay.
know that's right. Right in town, no less. That's what's even better.
Right up the street, girl.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing.
That is
I was like,
perfect.
yes, girl, we're going to these concerts together. We're gonna go
Okay.
to, I'm taking her. I'm girl, you going to Korea with me? We
Okay.
doing
Girl.
everything. Okay, sorry, y'all. Back to the story. So they playing with this feather and they like getting close and Taeyong wants to break this one rule. So now they kissing and now they losing each other with the kissing because now it then got to another place. And then she says, oh, the camera, the camera. So then they hurry up and just like, oh, bye y'all. Then they turn off the camera and now all their viewers is like, what's happening? What just happened? Like everybody want to know what's happening. But we know what happened because
Mm-hmm.
honey, they got down after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
It
good.
was good. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
There it
It was so
sounded so
good.
like passionate and so just
Girl,
oof.
yeah. So hey, look, even the part where it says his lip was hovering over my lips, I was like,
Girl. Was it
yes,
me? Am I the only one whose lips was tingling? Is it just me?
right. I was like, I was poking out my lips like I
Girl,
wanted to kiss too.
same here. Same here. Girl.
So yes, girl, they had some great sex. I mean, great sex, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they've done it more than one time.
Yeah. So okay, so they have sex, but mind you, she still got the kind of thing going with JK.
Hmm.
So JK's like constantly hitting her up, and she's been ignoring him because she's been hanging out with Tay a lot, and they're
Right.
having this
And
like fun.
JK getting
Mm-hmm.
annoying at this point. That's how much he hit her up
Mm-hmm. And she's like
now.
kind of trying to figure out what's going on because she's like, man, he's mad clingy. Like, what's up?
Hmm. Yeah, because she was like, okay, he said it's just about sex, but he not acting like it's just about sex.
Mm-hmm.
And I was mad at her a little bit. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, because you can't do my JK like that.
It was for good.
I know it was for Tay and everything, but I was like, damn, my poor JK.
Girl.
But it's okay. It's okay.
So he shows up at her house. He's
Hmm.
been blowing her up. She hasn't been answering. So he shows up at her house and he's like, we need to talk. And then he's trying to figure out like, why are you ignoring me? She's like, hey bro, you're
Hmm.
like super needy. You're really clingy right now. And he's just like, wait, what? Like, what's going on?
Hmm.
So she's pretty much telling him like, I feel like you're catching feelings. Like I feel like this is more for you than it's supposed to be. Like we already said this is that. Like it's not gonna be anything more. We're not gonna date again. Like this is just what it is.
Hmm.
So
And JK pretty much was like, no, no, it's not like that. It's just sex. I promise you, blah, 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 blah. So that's when they agreed that it was just going to be every week thing, that they just have sex. So they kind of go their separate ways. But then JK, while she's like hanging out with Tay and doing things with Tay, um, like, I think JK was like, meet me at my place.
wait,
And she's like,
wait,
huh?
wait, wait,
Huh?
wait. Before all that happened, when JK came to her house and he was like, no, it's just sex, they actually had sex.
Did they have sex? Because I thought
Yeah,
she didn't
because
have sex with him no more after Tay.
nope, she did. She had it one more time. And because I remember him saying like she didn't have any underwear on, but she was at home, so she had no underwear on. And they had sex then. And then
Mm,
after that, that was it.
okay. So I guess after a while, he still was hitting her up. He was like, meet me at my place. And she was like, darn, like she didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't really want to, but she didn't really like want to do JK like that either. So she was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to his house. So she got out dressed up, went to his house or whatever. And as her and JK, like she went in and JK was like, honey, cooking, whipping it up, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, in her head, she was thinking, okay, if this is the sex, why he over here cooking me a whole meal though?
Mm-hmm.
So as she was sat down and she was eating and all this stuff, and then she looked at her phone that went off and it was Tay wanting to link up with her again. Girl, honey, she ain't never dropped something so fast
Okay.
in her life.
Okay.
She was like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta
I
go.
gotta
And he was like,
go.
wait, what's wrong? She was like, something going on. I gotta go.
She
So he was like,
dipped.
you want me to? Yeah, he was like, because she was supposed to go to Tay's house. And she was like, he asked her, you want me to drop you off? Because she made it seem like she was hurting or something.
Right, right, right.
Like she was getting sick. And he was like, you want me to take you to your place? And she was like, no, 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 I'm good. I'm good. So she ended up leaving and she left and she went to Tay house.
Mm-hmm. Something else that we forgot to mention is that 50 Shades of Purple, the one that she talks to the most, calls her little
Mm.
vixen. It's important.
Mm.
It's important.
Yes. So you know when I heard Little Vixen, you know automatically
Girl.
I thought about you
Girl.
with that little one. I don't know why.
Every time they
Just
have
tonight.
nicknames, I'm like, yep.
Yeah, mm-hmm. That's where it's at right there.
Mm-hmm.
This story had me asking my husband, what's your kink? Because we know each other well enough,
Yeah.
but I wanted to know, like, I wanted to hear what are all your kinks, and I'm about to sit here and tell you what's mine, like, and we need to explore some of these.
Okay. Come on,
So,
fanfics bringing families together.
hey, hmm,
I know that's right. Her and Tay are like getting closer, and they're realizing things for one another. But she's also talking to 50 Shades of Purple still, and she
hmm.
still kind of has these feelings, but she feels like kind of guilty because she is really starting to feel things for Tay.
I remember that she just was like, and she told Tay, I've been missing my favorite viewer. He ain't been on here. And Tay was just like saying, oh, sometime that happened. Remember?
Yeah,
And he was like, sometime that just happened. They come and go. Basically, don't be surprised if you never see him again. But Tay already knew what was up.
right. Something else that was going on while she was having these lives is where she was getting spammed with like people that were hating on her. So
Right.
and they were like constantly being disrespectful. She would kick them out of the group or whatever, and that would be that. Well, at a
Uh-huh.
certain point, it gets to be like really weird, and Tay sees it, and
Uh-huh.
he ends up realizing that the girl that's popping up in now no Nicole's stuff is the girl that he had sex with. So backstory to the story.
I was going to say the backstory to the story, girl. We got two
Two
backstories.
backstories. So
Mhm.
The reason he has these rules is because he ended up doing his videos, and the girl was following him, and they ended up meeting up, and they ended up having sex one time. Well, after that
Uh-huh.
one time, that girl was like sprung and was like, "This is my boyfriend. We go together now. Like this is official. There's nothing y'all
We're
can tell me."
together now.
Yeah, there's nothing you can tell me. And he was like, "Hey, I told you at the beginning, like this is not what that is." Well, it got bad. Homegirl started stalking him and sending threatening
Right.
messages. She popped up at his house, like doing all
Mm-hmm.
types of crazy things. So he ended up getting a restraining order against her, and like all this other stuff.
She went to jail
Went to
too.
jail and everything. Nuts.
Uh-huh.
So he knows this is that girl. The girl's name is Sarah.
Right.
I can't remember though. Did he tell her that right off the bat, or he tells her that later?
I think he tells her later. He doesn't tell her um everything. He just like as they got involved, he told her.
Okay.
Like as they start getting close, like being together.
Okay. Cool. So
She also has a backstory.
she also has a backstory. Go ahead.
So her backstory is that her mom died when she was younger. And when her mom died, basically her dad died too because then her dad started to drink a lot.
Mhm.
And then one time when he got really drunk, he punched her in the face.
Mhm.
So right after that, she pretty much like he like spent her college fund. Like her mom had money set aside for her college fund, everything. Her dad spent her whole college fund drinking.
Mhm.
Which I was like, Dad, that's a lot of drink.
Okay.
So, she left shortly after that, like right when her dad abused her. She packed out her stuff and she left. She never looked back.
Mhm.
She went to college. She worked really hard, got herself a scholarship. Plus, she also was working, and she went to college to get that degree and stay away from her dad. So that
Mhm.
was her backstory.
So yeah, so they have their history or their backstories. So we have Jimin that's always in her chats. This girl who's in her chats trying to harass her, but she keeps getting booted out. And we also have another person whose name is Bitch Queen, which is important later on.
Right.
So I think it's Bitch Queen. Yeah, I think it's Bitch Queen. So yeah, that's important later on. I just wanted to mention that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So they really just kind of have more sex as time goes on. Like they get to know more about each other as the time goes on, but like they really do have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
really good
Like real
descriptive
good. Real good.
sex
Like all the time.
all the
Like they
time.
start to have a lot of sex.
You know, as I was reading this story, it seemed like as you're reading it, the time is going like every chapter is a day or a couple of days. But there's a
Mm-hmm.
part in the story when it's like it was only like 3 months that they were together, or 3 weeks or something like that. But didn't it feel like months,
Right.
girl?
Because they was, but see, at that point, they was always with each other all
Mm-hmm.
the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say it got to a point where they weren't even doing their lives like that anymore.
Right. Because she had started working.
Oh yeah, she did end up getting okay. So she did end up getting a job, being a therapist, and her boss is
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Wang.
Yes. Can you imagine going to work
Girl,
every day seeing Jackson Wayne,
I
baby?
kept and I just kept
Mm.
seeing him in a suit.
Right. With that hair, you know, he
Yes,
show his forehead
girl.
all the time. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So she's a therapist for people. She has like this lady that's married and this girl named Gia.
Mm-hmm.
And so she eventually ends up starting to do like sex therapy kind of because the lady that she was seeing was she ended up helping her and her husband kind of renew their marriage and their sex life and he ended up later on started coming in as well.
Right, because but this lady had a whole bunch of kids.
She said I can't have no
And
more
she was,
kids.
right, she had all these kids and like she wanted to have sex with her husband because she's very sexual. But her husband wanted to he don't like using condoms. And she was like, I can't keep having these kids.
That was the realest part of the story. She's I can't have no
Right,
more
right,
kids.
right. She just had a bunch of damn kids.
She said, "Why don't he get a vasectomy?" Didn't she ask her that?
And he wouldn't, of
Mm-hmm.
course, if any most men be like, say what? Nope.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, like you said, she started to be kind of like a sex therapist to these women. And so she just kind of started like not really doing that many lives, but she still does her lives. You know, she's still kind of still close with her peeps
Mm-hmm.
on the line.
My bad. I said that one of her patients was Gia. Her patient was Jaden. My bad.
Yeah, but that's his real name. But her name is Gia.
Yeah,
You was right.
right. So she has one patient that she sees, whose name is Jaden, who is going to end up going through a sex change so that he can be Gia.
Right.
And so she's kind
So
of going through the therapy with him for that.
so as the time kind of goes by, her and Tayon ends up being together, actually becoming a couple. So they only really do lives together now, but still they don't do it that much because come to find out, Tay got a whole job that nobody knew about until almost the end of the book.
Right. I was wondering this whole. I'm like, there's no way that's supporting his whole life.
Right. So just doing lives together most of the time, and some of his viewers are kind of mad, but he was like, "Yep, we're a couple, and we're gonna be together
Mm-hmm.
on these lives." So as time goes by, she introduces him to
Jimin.
oh, Jimin has a party.
Oh yeah, we can't forget this part.
Right. So Jimin has a party, and they go to the party together. So they go to this party, and as soon as they walk in, they see sexy JK. And soon, like I don't even think she like see him, but Tay seen him.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know Tay automatically looking at him like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
like you. You her ex. Nope, don't like you.
Yep.
So she is at this party. They're having a good time, and then like, oh wait,
They went in the
is this the
bath.
part?
Yeah, they went into
Do
the.
they have a vibe? Did she? Is this the part where she had the vibrator in her panties or no?
Yep, it sure is.
So Tay had that vibrator, put it in her panties, basically, and she was just getting heated all night because he kept turning that thing on
Mm-hmm.
her. So eventually they both couldn't take it. They ended up going in Jimmy's room, having some real good sex.
Mm-hmm.
and she was supposed to be quiet, but she was not being quiet at all.
Right.
And so she comes out the room, and guess who's standing up by the door? JK,
Right.
like a real stalker. Why you doing that, JK? Don't do that. So she sees him. She stopped, talked to him, and then what happened?
He
Z?
started going off about something. I can't remember exactly, but he started going in, and Tay was getting pissed. And he started saying really crappy stuff to her about like her dad and all that. And she was like, I cannot deal with
Cause he
him.
was drunk by then.
Yeah, because he felt some type of way about her really being into Tay. Like him and Tay had instant beef.
Mm-hmm.
So he felt some type of way about it. And in doing so, he decided that he was going to talk crazy to her. And so she felt some type of way about it. And she was like, don't ever talk to me again, type of thing.
Right.
But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously they were going to talk. But
Jimmy was mad at him too, cause what he did,
because he tried
cause he
it.
crossed the line.
Yep.
He did. He crossed the line. And so they end up leaving the party. She was like all upset. They left the party and went to Tay's house, right?
I think so.
And then they had sex, of course.
Right. I'm trying not to skip too much, but
So let's just skip here. So what happened is her and Jimmy wanted to go have like a double
that's
date.
exactly where I was about to go. Yep.
Go ahead.
um so Jimin wanted to have a double date with Tay and Nikki, and so because he's like, I'm dating somebody really special, blah 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 blah. So she's like, all right, we'll meet up. So Jimin and his girlfriend are already at the place, and Tay and Nikki walk in. They sit down, all that, and Jimin finally introduces the girl to her as Gia. We all know that Jaden is Gia. We know that. But nobody else knows that. But the girl, Nikki, is like looking at her like, man, she really looks familiar, but I can't put my finger on it. I feel like I know her, but I just can't figure out like who she is. That kind of like
And the girl kept putting her head down, like.
yeah, trying to avoid her. Yep. And so they hang out all night. You know, it's a cool night, but like in the back of the girl's head, she's constantly like, man, I know her from somewhere.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
So she ended up just going back to work and like sitting down, and then she figured out it. She's like going through her files or what she have to do today, and then it comes to her how she knows this Gia. She is actually Jaden,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's when she talk to Jaden that day.
Yeah, so I think she had an appointment, and when she is in the appointment, she acts as if nothing happened, doesn't lead on that she knows. But what she does is she starts asking questions, and as she's asking these questions, Jaden's starting to realize like, crap, she knows that was me. Cause she's like,
Hmm.
do you normally dress as a woman when you go out? And then he was like, crap. So she was
Hmm.
like, you have to tell Jimin. Like you have to
Right.
tell. She's like, just give him the benefit of the doubt. Like you don't know how he's gonna react. You really just need to tell him because he's gonna feel some type of way that you lied to him.
Right. And she was like, Jimmy will love you. If
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy loves you, he loves you. He don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm. Which sounds like such a Jimin thing.
Why they sound like Jimmy though?
Yeah.
Jimmy and Tay started being like after she introduced him, they was in like super close friends after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which I think is really cute. They was thick as thieves.
Right.
That's cute.
So like they were super close friends. So that after that happened with JK and he was drunk and doing all that,
Mm-hmm.
JK messaged Nicole and was like, I really need to talk to you. I really need to talk to you. Can we meet up for lunch or dinner or something?
Mm-hmm.
And V Tay was like, nope, no, you can't. I don't like him. I don't trust him. And she was like, I gotta do this, Tay,
Mm-hmm.
because regardless of how she feel about JK, her and JK still was very close. They were together for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were together like through high. Weren't they together through like high school and college, or just
I
college?
think it was it high school and college?
They were together for a long
Yeah,
time.
they were together for a minute.
And even though like she was pretty much done. Like she didn't have those same feelings for JK. She still loved JK in that way.
Right. She said that she would have a soft spot for him, like no matter what. Even though he had
Right.
pissed her off.
Right. So JK was like, I really need to talk to you, whatever. So when they she was like, okay, well I can meet you at such and such place. So they ended up going like to a cafe, and Tay and Jimmy both went, and it was just so funny because in the book they was like they had their backs up against like close where they could see JK,
Mm-hmm.
and they was like looking like, yeah, let him try something if he want to. We ready to get on him. Like, cause it was like how it was written, it was like after JK had did all that and apologized, she accepted his
Mm-hmm.
apology. He looked back and seen them. No, she looked back and seen them, and they started smiling at her.
Mm-hmm.
But then JK looked around the corner and seen them, and they smile dropped, and they was looking at him like, "Yeah, try some." It was just funny. It was just funny how it was written in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that basically was it. He apologized, basically told her he was a cop now, he was doing well, and he accepted their relationship. He basically told her that he was jealous of her relationship because he
Mm-hmm.
still felt like they kind of had a little bit there, but he didn't have feelings like he used to, and he could tell that they really was like in love with each other, and that she looked at Tay differently than she looked at him. So he pretty much accepted then that she was in a whole nother relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But Tay still didn't like him at that point.
Right. They still had like nothing for each other. Cause
They pretty much was like in a good relationship for a minute.
yeah,
Like they just had a lot of sex. They was like in a really good
the
place.
girl was still bothering them though. Like whenever they would go on live, the girl was still
Mhm.
bothering the other girl, making threats and saying like I'm the only one and all this other stuff.
Right, and Tay wanted her to just be quiet and not say nothing to her.
Right. And she was
But she
like
was ready to get on her, honey.
she was with all the smoke. She was like, "No, I'm gonna say something, and she can. We gonna have to handle this." So I think she did say something to her on one of the lives, and then I think kicked her out of the chat again.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna skip to the her meeting his mom. Is that too far?
No, that's good.
Okay. So things are really going good at this point. I think they've been together like 2 months, maybe a month. I don't know.
Mhm.
But Tay ends up surprising her with a trip to meet his mom,
Mhm.
was his parents, and she's freaking out because she didn't know for one, and wasn't sure how she was going to feel emotionally because she had lost her mom. And
Mhm.
so she ends up introducing the mom's like super warm and welcoming. They like eat dinner and all that stuff. Everything's cool. Tay and his dad go sit in a room, or they're sitting in the room, and then Tay's mom takes Nikki to another room, and they sit there and talk. And she's like nervous the whole time. This is the girl that's like super strong, super like nobody's gonna intimidate me. She was like kind of insecure, I guess, in a sense, while she was talking to his mom. And his mom was like, "Look, girl, like your family, like it's cool, don't worry about it." And she like gives her a hug, and she's fighting back tears because she really like missed that feeling.
Mhm. Yeah, because Tay had already told her mom
Mm-hmm.
about her mom, and like she wasn't even mad about it. She was
Mm-hmm.
just like, first she was like, "Oh, he told her. I can't believe he told her." And then she was like, "I'm not even mad that
Right.
he told her."
Yeah. They really fit each other really well. I like them.
Right. So then the dad was like, "Oh, you want me to go in here and get the ring for you?" And he was like, "Daddy, what you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, the same way you look at her is exactly how I was looking at your mama."
Mm-hmm. That was so cute,
Right. Wasn't it cute though?
girl. I was in my feelings a little bit for that part.
Right. Aww.
Just a little bit. Um so yeah, so they have a good time out there. They end up coming back. Everything's still kind of going pretty well, and then stuff starts to get kind of weird. And oh
Mhm.
wait, yeah, okay. So stuff starts getting kind of weird. So they did another recording at a point, and while they were doing the recording, stuff started to get kind of like hot and heavy, and they ended up shutting the computer off, putting the top down, and ended up having sex. Well, while they were having sex, somebody hacked the camera and recorded them having sex, and then posted it and sent it to all the contacts that Nicole, her parent, not her mom, her friends, her family, her boss,
Tay's
his
mom.
parents, like everybody got a copy of it. So now they're trying to do like damage control because they're like, what the heck? Like the camera was off, something must have happened. Come to find out, the girl hacked the camera and somehow managed to post everything. So she ends up having to do damage control with like everybody. And
because she pretty much lost her job because of that, and his mom was mad because of that. Like, there's a whole bunch going on.
Yeah, it was a lot happening with that. So they were worried. They were kind of struggling with that. And then she wanted to go see her dad, even to kind of like clear the air and like one last time to say like, look, let me just try to clear things up. So Tay found them. They went down to go see him, or up wherever they went to go see him. And they noticed that the house was like trash. Like it wasn't kept up or nothing. Things were broken. Things were just dirty, all that. So, but she noticed that there was no like alcohol or anything around. So they're sitting there talking, and she's kind of have her guard up, but as he's talking and he's saying how he's changed and how he was so sorry for the things, all this other stuff, she's starting to kind of like warm up to him. And then, just as you're like, man, this guy really got his act together. Good for him. He's following the program. He asked her for some money.
Right.
Man, I was so
And come to
mad.
find out, he is into gambling, honey. He quit the alcohol when he was in the gambling.
And he was, yeah.
And Tay already had peep game, so Tay was looking at him like, I'm about to knock this man out. I don't care if this is her daddy or not. He not finna make my girl feel like this. Hold on,
Right. So then she was like, she was immediately pissed off. Like, I freaking knew it. Like, here we go. You ain't changed. You just switched. Well, Tay was like, so you really just switched one addiction for another or whatever. And she's just sitting there quiet because Tay's going off on her dad, and her dad's like going back and forth with him. And she finally said something. She's like, you got a lot of nerve. Like, you really had me out here crazy as I don't know what. You was drinking, you really ruined your life and all this other stuff, and you're gonna sit here and try to blame me for your problems. And he's like, it's your fault that your mom died. It's your fault because she was rushing home because you were home alone or something like that. And she's like, it's not my fault. Like, you can't blame me for that. She's like, but all the stuff that you're doing is your fault. She's like, you need to take accountability, pretty much. And he ends up gave him some money, right? He gave him like quite a bit of money, right?
I don't remember that. He might have did. I skipped that part. All I remember is that photo book. She took that photo book, I think.
Yeah, she took the book, but I think he gave him some money and like told her to leave them alone or never to come back again or something like that. I think.
Yeah.
Am I making that up? I don't remember. But yeah, so, and then they leave. So she feels some type of way about the whole situation, and he's just trying to be there for her and really trying to tend to her needs, which is like really cool because he was able to know what she needed without having to ask or anything like that. He just did it. And even though she tried to like make advances to be sexual, he was like, I know she really don't need that right at this moment, so let me like try to diffuse the situation. So eventually she lets those emotions out. She feels some type of way, but then she's like, okay. And they kind of like move forward a little bit from that. I think that happens first, and then the house gets broken into. So she notices that there's a box that Tay brought her with some stuff in it. And then when she goes into her room, there's another box. And she's like, oh, thanks, Tay. Thanks so much, blah, blah. And he's like, I didn't get that for you. And it's pictures of her out and about with him, by herself, with Jimin, like at her job, at her house, shopping, like everywhere. And she's
Sarah
like,
been following her the whole
time. That's so crazy. So now she's freaking out. She's like, what the hell? I don't know what to do. I'm scared, blah, blah, blah. Is that when he tells her or did he tell her before that?
She is I think after that, she ends up moving in.
Yeah,
He asked her to move in.
yeah. Because he wants to make sure that he keeps her safe. And he has like security and some old stuff, which I was like, what does he do?
Right.
So,
Yeah, because at his place he's on like a real high level like apartment.
mm-hmm,
And he has security around the clock all the time there. So and security cameras all the time.
mm-hmm. So,
So he feels safer with her there.
mm-hmm,
So she pretty much basically tell him, yeah, I'm gonna move in, which that was fast, but I knew it was gonna happen.
mm-hmm,
So she moves in with him, like time skip. Basically, she moving in with him. She good, like they've been doing a little bit better. And don't they meet with like JK after that? Cause stuff start like getting crazy.
yeah. So, okay. So at this point, she hasn't really talked to JK like that after the party because he really tried her. And so the next
Mhm.
time that she really talks to him, he comes over to the house while Tay's there and is because he got pictures of the video, like he has them in his hand, and he's going
Mhm.
off about that. And she's like, "Look, we've had a really rough day. Like, if you don't want to hear me out about what is actually going on, you can go. If you don't want to help, you
Oh
can
yeah,
leave."
yeah. I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Mhm.
So he feels some type of way, but he does eventually leave. Well, so all this stuff is going on at this point, and then they do end up calling him because they need his help because he is a cop. And
Oh, and that's when after all that stuff happened, when he came over there and all that stuff just started happening. Remember, they went to go see the mama and
oh
everything after that.
yeah,
And then that's when Jimmy called, and Jimmy was like crying hysterically,
mhm,
like, and Gia then basically then told Jimmy the truth.
mhm,
So both of them were really good, close friends with Jimmy then. So they stopped everything they were doing
mhm,
and went with Jimmy. So Jimmy basically was like really upset, kind of asked her, why didn't you tell me? But in the back of his head, he also knew that she couldn't tell him.
right,
So they basically both stayed the night at Jimmy's house and let him cry it out for the night.
mhm.
Just so
It
sad.
is really sad, but it's like really sweet that they both were there for him like that. Like he just came into the
Right.
rescue. That's his new friend, and he's like, that's
Right.
nice.
And so that night that she was like, you can go home. I'm gonna stay here with Jimmy. And he was like, what did he call it? Gorgeous. He called her gorgeous.
Mhm,
So he was like, gorgeous. I'm not going anywhere.
mhm,
So Tay stayed there with her too. Then I think he got a call that night from his mom. His mom going off on him, basically told him she needed to see them. And like he was really close with his mama, so he was like crying.
right,
So I guess they planned like the next day to go see his mom.
mhm,
So the next day they went to go see his mom. His mom was like yelling at them, basically telling how disappointed she was of him. Why did he let that happen? And that's when Tay kind of, because she never knew what Tay was like. He was doing that job. The
right.
only thing she knew is that his other job with Tay Man, which we haven't talked about Tay
Oh
Man.
yeah. So Taemin is Taeyoung's best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and he does like photography, like exotic photography, exotic
Right.
erotic photography, and all type of
Mm-hmm.
other things like that. So they have their own little thing going.
Right. So that's his other half of his business.
Mhm. So.
So
Mhm.
so Tay ends up just telling his mom everything about how he's a cam boy and what he does. And then he ends up talking about the stalker. Now, his
Mhm.
mom does know about the stalker,
Kind of.
but she didn't, yeah, she doesn't know everything about it. Like, she
Mhm.
knows that he has a stalker and that's it.
Mhm.
But then he ends up telling her why he had the stalker, what happened, that he had a thing going with this girl and she just kept coming back.
Mhm.
So then his mama began to understand why, all this is happening. And just like, y'all need to fix that. Do you want me to get involved? He was like, no. And then basically that was about it. Like, they was good after that.
Mhm. So when they went to go see the mom, though, the mom of the girl, the first time she wasn't trying to be helpful at all. And then the second time they ended up going back because now the girl has really gotten out of hand.
So right after they had that Taeyong had that closure with his mom, and she figured out what happened after that. Then she went to go see her. She wanted to go see her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she hasn't been to that grave since she was buried,
Oh
and so she wanted to
yeah.
get that. Yeah, so she wanted to get that closure.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a big deal, but she went to the gravesite. She got that closure with her mom. Introduced her mom to Taeyong and all that stuff, and how they were in love, and how she felt about him. And then they pretty much like it kind of gave. I feel like it gave her some energy
Mm-hmm.
after she did that. To now we about to handle this stuff.
Right now, all of our stuff is kind of taken care of on that end. I'm ready for
Right.
battle.
So then they were going to the restaurant to meet JK.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So wait, I just blanked. Oh,
So
okay,
they
okay.
went.
Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. Okay, so they go to the restaurant to meet JK, and they're all talking at the restaurant or whatever. So
Oh yeah.
he,
Oh wait. But then this is the part that we don't want to miss. She told Tay that she was going to do this, and Tay was like, didn't want her to deal with JK at all.
right. Oh, you know what? We skipped something huge. Okay,
What?
real quick. So one of the times that um Tay and Nikki are having sex or about to have sex, and it's like a little bit ahead of all of this. Tay says something to her and it triggers something. So he calls her Little Vixen. And she
Mhm.
remembers that 50 Shades of
Oh, we
Purple.
forgot about this
Completely
whole
forgot about this
part.
part. Yeah. So she remembered that 50 Shades of Purple called her Little Vixen. So this is all following the whole thing with Jimin and Gia. So
Mhm.
she's like, wait a second. And she starts connecting the dots and she goes, it was you. So now Tay's like, oh, because he didn't realize what he said until after she like
Mhm.
freaked out and he's like, crap. He's like, I
Yep.
understand, I know what you're saying, blah 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 blah. He's like, but you gotta understand why I did it. And she was just so hurt. She's like, you lied to me though. So that was like a whole
Mhm.
thing. She was sad about it. He was upset about it. They ended up getting over it, obviously, because we're at the part that we're at. But yeah,
Mhm.
that was a big thing in the story.
Right. Yeah. That. Dang. I don't know how we skipped
Girl,
that
I
whole
don't know.
part.
That part was good.
It was good.
The whole time, though, I'm not gonna lie. The whole time when I read Little Vixen, I was like, I already know who this is.
Mhm. Yes, girl.
So,
Especially 50 Shades of Purple. You know that's
I
time.
mean, right, right.
So
So,
anyway, so fast forward back to the restaurant. Tay got mad. He didn't want her to deal with. He does not want her dealing with JK. But she had to tell him, listen, he a part of my life. If it really makes you feel some type of way, really, I won't talk to him. If it means our relationship, I won't talk to him. But he was in my life for this amount of time,
mm-hmm.
and he is special to me for this reason. So Tay pretty much got over it. And she was like, he's a cop. He will help us. I know you don't want him to, but he will help us. So she calls JK. Tell JK, meet them at the restaurant. They go to the restaurant. Oh, we skipped the other. Okay, so she got fired from her job. So once she got fired from her job, and they was at some point they were talking in at their home, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you never knew who this girl was. Her name is Sarah."
Oh yeah, she
See,
never
she
knew what
didn't
she
even know.
looked like. Yep.
She never knew what she looked like and who her name. He was like, "Her name is Sarah." I just like they talked about it, but they didn't like get into depth about it. They just knew she was a stalker.
Right, right, right.
So he was like, her name is Sarah or whatever. Then he showed her, he looked her up, showed her a picture. Come to find out, this girl was working at her place the whole time as a
Yep,
receptionist
and that's how she sent all
at
the
her
files to
job.
her, all her people, all of her contacts, and her boss.
Right. So when she found out about this, she went back to work and told Jackson. Jackson figured out, oh, well, I got all this information right here about her. And he gave her the information. And she was like, I know you can get in trouble for this. And he was like, I don't even care.
Mm-hmm.
She did you dirty. And let's just go ahead and get this taken care of.
Yeah, because
So she,
her and Jackson had
yeah,
gotten really close, like not as just coworkers, like as friends. So he was like
friends,
really
right.
like about it, like he didn't play about her at all.
Yeah. Yeah, because Jackson wanted to date her before he figured out she had a boyfriend.
Right.
So she got the papers from Jackson. That's when she called JK, went to the restaurant. So her and JK and Tay at the table, they talking. She shows JK all this stuff, even though it's not concrete, it's still, you know, what it
Something.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's when JK was like, okay, I'm gonna look into this.
Mm-hmm.
So then JK leaves the office. I mean the restaurant. He leaves the restaurant and her feet hurt, honey. So she got these heels on, her feet hurting. And her and Tay are talking. He was like, well, I'm going to go get the car so you don't have to walk so much, which is so
That
sweet.
was really sweet.
My husband be doing that for me sometimes too,
Aw,
girl.
that's so sweet.
So, yeah. So he was like, I'm going to go get the car because I know your feet hurt or whatever. So he's going to go get the car. She's like, well, um, let me go ahead and go outside and so I can be ready for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so she goes out, and I guess she turned around. She sees Sarah, and before she could do anything, Sarah pushes her in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And girl, and look, and that's where that chapter ended. And I was like, oh no.
Girl, I said,
But then the next chapter comes back.
yeah. Yeah, that was a crazy ending. So
Mhm.
homegirl's in the street, like kind of dazed and confused, but then she realizes that she's getting lifted up, and it's JK. So JK didn't
Yeah.
actually like leave because he was like something not right. So he wanted to make sure
Mhm.
she was good. So he's like pulling her up. Tay comes running to make sure she's okay, and she tells them it was her. It was her. So now they really
Mhm.
pissed.
Right.
So they get her, get her together, get her back to the house, and like get everything squared away. Um,
And that's when Tay was showing JK all the surveillance cameras and everything and where everything was at.
mm-hmm.
And now her nerves tore up, honey, because she could have been dead by now.
Right.
So she said, I'm just going to bed. She went in there, she went to bed and went to sleep or whatever. And then Tay, she wakes up and Tay's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So Tay writes her a letter and says, had to go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Cause
So he went,
sorry.
uh-huh.
I was say because he was feeling real guilty about everything that was going on because he felt like this was all his fault. And so
Right.
he felt real bad. He's like, I gotta go do something to take care of this. So he went to the bar.
Right. So he goes to the bar, have his soju, talks to some guy that is a viewer of both of theirs, and after he finishes his bottle, like he gets ready to leave, and when he goes out, he feeling like weird about some stuff. Turn around, get knocked over the head by Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
So flashback. Meanwhile, over here on this side, she wakes up, see the note, look at the time, notice that he been gone way too
Yeah, it's been
long.
like 4 hours.
Right. So then she calls JK. JK comes over. JK is so funny because he was like, "Your boyfriend is an idiot."
Right. She's like, he
He
could.
was like, "I told him not to go nowhere alone."
Right. Right.
Yeah. So JK come over. She was like, "We gotta go see the mama."
Mm-hmm.
So we skipped this part, but her and Tay, after they got these papers from Jackson, they went to see, like her address was her old address with the girl Sarah's mom.
Right. We kind of sort of mentioned them seeing the mom, but not like in detail.
Okay, so they go see the mom. The mom basically was telling them, "I ain't got nothing to do with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ain't seen her in years." and we still don't know why.
And Nicole's like, look, I'm hearing what she's saying, but homegirl took my man, and I'm not playing that. Like, we really need any help. I'm pretty sure she's gonna hurt him. Like, I just need to make sure that we can get to him. So the mom is like, all right, well, here's some stuff that I know where she might be. Like, I'll give this to you. So they take that information and they go to the place that to the address that the mom gave. So in the same like parallel but just different scene, Tay's waking up in a room and the girl has got him handcuffed to the headboard.
Which reminds me of the movie Misery. Have you ever
Doesn't it?
seen Misery?
Yes, girl. Kathy Bates.
That old movie
Absolutely.
with Kathy Bates.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking about.
Me too. Oh, this is crazy.
Right. So he opens his eyes, see this girl. She looking all scary, which made me think about that
one
other
story
book.
with the girl that was turning into. I thought the same thing, girl. The same exact thing.
Yes, girl. I thought about that Hobie story with that crazy girl.
I said, I was reading, I'm like, man, if she turned into something, I'm going to lose it.
Right. If you guys want to know what we talk about, refer back to that old episode.
Right. What story was that? I can't remember which one it was called.
I just remember it was a Hobie. It was a Hobie story.
Yeah, that mess was crazy. Oh,
yeah, y'all got to go back, listen to that episode. We don't remember what the name of the story is, but it's a Hobie story, so you can figure it out real quick that way.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tay opens his eyes, see this girl. She got jet black hair all up in her face, looking all scary and stuff in that dark room. And he is kind of trying to be nice to her too.
Right.
Because he didn't want her to like kill him.
Right. But he was so repulsed by her. Like, he was just over it. He was trying, but he also was like being realistic. And he's like, I can't pretend. He's like, hey, girl, I told you what it was. Like, you were clearly tripping. And she's like, no, but we're in love. And he's like, no, I have a girlfriend. Like, she is my girlfriend. She's like, no, you just don't know because she is clouding your judgment. He's like, crap. Right. Like, what's going on?
She's my boo.
Right. So she's like trying to kiss on him and all this other stuff. And he's just like really not for it. But he starts to shout at some point. And she ends up stuffing something in his mouth. Well, while that's happening, there's knocks on the door. So now if you go to the scene where now it's the girl and JK. So JK before he...
Look, and JK told her not to get out the goddamn car.
Yep. Sure did.
He said, do not get out the car. Here go JK walking around the house because nobody answered the door when they were knocking. So then JK went around the house and she was like, girl, now this is my man and I'm going to find him. Right. So she goes to knock at the door again. Then she see the girl come out. And look, Deborah was getting beat up though.
Okay.
Low key. She was getting beat up low key by that girl.
Yeah. Sure was.
So her and the girl is now fighting back and forth. She low key getting beat up, y'all. But then when she hit her man, everything turned around. She started fighting back for real. So in the meantime, while she fighting back, JK then found old buddy.
Right. But while old girl and while the two girls are fighting, the crazy one had a knife and she was or like a dagger and she was gonna stab her. But at some point during the fight, Nikki ended up getting the dagger. And then while that's happening upstairs, down in the basement or wherever room they were in, JK finds Tay.
Right. So JK let Tay go. Then they run downstairs. They get them separated. Basically, JK didn't call the police already for backup.
But homegirl is pissed. Homegirl is truly pissed still.
Yeah.
And she breaks her nose.
Oh, yeah. Nicole breaks Sarah's nose. So Nicole trying to be bad at tell myself, you want me to come do something else?
Right.
Girl, but you was losing at first.
Right.
What you mean?
5 seconds ago, that ass was getting whooped, girl.
Right.
Like, calm down.
Yes. Calm all the way down, ma'am. I'm gonna need you to say that energy.
Okay. So
that's pretty much like the end.
Yeah.
Basically, the police come and get Sarah. Sarah go to jail for a long time.
Mhm.
JK end up being really close to Tay. Like they end up being good friends.
Mhm.
Um, and Tay ends up asking her to marry him
Mhm.
down the line.
Yep.
So I just knew she was gonna get pregnant,
I
girl.
did too. I knew she was. I felt like that was gonna happen early, and it did. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. They made it. They made it through the story.
Right.
But
So basically, that was pretty much the end of the story.
yeah, there's an epilogue
J-
when it just talks about like what she's about to do, like with them getting
yeah,
married.
like
But
yeah, Jim and Gia was happily ever after as well.
mhm.
Because we skipped that whole part about them going. She was having that surgery.
Oh yeah. So yeah, there's a part where Jackson tells Nicole that Gia's having surgery, and Nicole calls Jim in and says, "Hey, you have to get there now." And so they all go to the hospital while she's having surgery, and they wait while she's.
Right. That's how they end up getting back together.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because she knew that Gia didn't need to be doing that alone.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But yeah, how did you feel about the story overall?
Girl, you know I love that story so much.
Mhm.
So much. This smut was so good.
Mhm.
And I love the way JK stayed in the story constantly. He didn't just like disappear like a bitter ex.
Mhm.
I loved it. It was so good. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I love the story too. You know what I thought was cool about it, which is not something that we see often? It only
What?
had like three members in it, three BTS members in it. Like,
Uh-huh.
normally the stories will have them all friends or all somehow associated with one another in some way. But this one only
Right.
had the three of them, which I thought was really cool.
Yes.
So, but I like the story a lot. The smut was so good, like Lisa said. I
Mm-hmm.
it was enough drama without it being like too much. It was good. I liked it.
Right.
I thought.
The author is really good in this story. And I also like kind of went back and looked at her stuff. She has a lot of
Oh
stories.
yeah.
Like a lot. Maybe like 12 or 13 stories.
Dang, yeah. Well, I have to read some other ones, but
Right, because her writing is on point,
and
honey.
it's written in a way that's like it. It seems so like I don't know how to explain this, but
It was clear.
it was very clear and very like easy. Like I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes sense, but
yeah.
I liked it. Like it was easy to follow. It was even though there was
Hmm.
a lot of kind of moving parts in this story, it was really easy to follow.
Right, and kept us engaged the whole time.
Yes, I'm
You
so
know,
mad we didn't read this sooner.
I
Like
know. It was so
it was
good.
really good. I'm glad that we finally got to it. I mean, it just there was so many guys. It's like we're trying to do
Yeah,
what we can. Um,
right.
but yeah, I really enjoyed the story a lot, and thank you guys for recommending it to us.
Hmm.
So,
Thank you. Because
yay!
it was good. Of course, everybody, of course, you know, I've been obsessed with Tae Young lately. So it was nice to read this story.
Mm-hmm. Especially how he. Oh, you know what we really skipped? Oh,
What?
when you was talking about the kinks thing, when you were trying to find out what his kinks were, we forgot to say that they had that conversation, and one of her things was to have sex in public, and they went to the sex party. Remember?
Oh,
We completely
yeah.
forgot that
I forgot all
part.
about that. Yes, they went to a sex party and they had sex, so people was looking at them.
But they had on
I'm low
so.
key,
Oh, good.
I'm low key excited about that. I wouldn't mind that.
So the thing that was cool about it was they had different pins. So like I guess like different pins mean different things, and they had red pins, which means like y'all can watch us, but like I'm not sharing.
Right. So a lot of them were swingers, like
Right.
sharing, and they had different color pens, like you said. Their
Mm-hmm.
pen was just exclusively just them, you know,
So
enjoying the party.
yep. So people was
I'm
watching
not
them.
mad at that. Would you go?
I would go.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool.
Okay.
I would probably function in the same way that they did, where like you could watch type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though.
Right.
It might. It might. Sure.
I would definitely go. You learn stuff from different people,
That's
girl.
true. That is true,
Like I be learning stuff from these books.
girl. Same.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I forgot about that
Yeah.
part.
Anyway, that was the S word.
Yeah, that was the S word. Thank you guys for joining us as usual. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can email us at doyoureadbts@yahoo.com. Definitely still send those recommendations. We'll get to them. We'll add them to the list. If you don't hear them soon, it's not that we forgot about you. It's just that we have a long list. So
Yep.
thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.